Humanity has gone on this very interesting quest to find life. We want to know, are we alone? Are we alone? Most human beings live alone. Maybe not in a household alone, but they live as an experience alone. You only have your senses, and with those senses, you perceive the outside world, and occasionally you perceive yourself. But you never stop to ask what it is that you're perceiving. You've been alive for however many years you've been alive. You wake up in the morning and you may feel some sensations. You might feel your shoulders out of place because you slept on it wrong. You might feel tired. You might feel energized. Maybe you feel hungry. You feel like you've got to go to the bathroom. All kinds of feelings. And we process them as what they are. They're just feelings. But we don't stop and ask, why are we having these feelings? Why? Not the feeling itself. Why are we noticing these feelings? What is it that is noticing these feelings? Your brain is picking up these feelings, but your brain is so used to you, being alive. Your brain has never stopped to ask, what is this? Your consciousness has never stopped to ask, why am I here? Why am I feeling these things? Your awareness itself could be anywhere. Could be out there in the sky where the aliens are. Could be down on the ground where the squirrels are. But your awareness is in your body. And your awareness has adopted the body. It doesn't question it. It's never stopped to say, why this body? What is this body? Because if you actually did, you would realize that we are the aliens. We are the aliens. You don't need to have any complicated theories about panspermia or, the Anunnaki coming down and creating humans with ape DNA or whatever the latest theory is on that. Our existence is fundamentally alien, but our awareness of it is not. Our awareness of it has forgotten the novelty of it because we exist within this sort of ego, this egocentric system that doesn't stop and say, what is this sensation? Why do I have a mouth? Oh, well, it's because we need to eat food. No. Why are you feeling a mouth? That's a different question. Why are you feeling a mouth right now? That's an easy one to test out yourself. It's one thing to ask, why am I seeing anything right now? But your mouth requires action on your behalf. And then you can actually go, wait, this is weird. I can feel this body. Why am I feeling this body? Why? That's a different question. You don't wake up in the morning and ask, why do I feel this body? You just take it for granted, and you sort of run the math into the future, and you extrapolate that you're going to feel this body until you die. But there's never a why. And it's not about reincarnation or creation, or it's not about the specifics. It's about, why am I noticing what's happening in this body right now? How come I have adapted to this? How come I have normalized this? There's nothing normal about this. If we really want to do an observation of the universe, well, look around. Most things aren't really moving. Yes, the wind moves things, but they're not moving autonomously. But life is. And a monkey or a squirrel or a dog doesn't really have the ability to stop and say, wait, why am I feeling this? But we do. We can stop and say and ask, why am I feeling this right now? And we can answer that question by saying we have to feel it because our brains are making us feel it. But it's like a paradox. Your brain is making you feel it. Sure, your brain is a feeling device, but why are you aware of what's happening in your brain? This thing called consciousness, that's what it is. It is the awareness of what's happening in your brain. It's not just waking up in the morning every day like we do. It's actually saying, wait a minute, this brain and this body exist over there. It exists over there. It exists right there. But you are experiencing something right now, the way that I'm experiencing something right now. Remove yourself from it. The brain and the body could just exist in space somewhere the same way a computer could. You could literally shoot a PC into space. And maybe if you temperature or climate controlled it and hooked it up to a power supply, you could turn that computer on in space. So if a body could survive in space, a body would be up in space and would be turned on. The brain would be moving and it would look and appear just like I do on your screen right now. But without awareness, nothing knows that it exists. People can observe it, other things can observe it, but if it doesn't have an awareness of itself, if it isn't representative of this sort of I am, then it's just another object, and there's no experience happening, even though the brain is moving, even though it's engaging and it's acting in the same ways that a human being would act. And I believe this is sort of like the zombie theory. I'm not 100% sure. But this is how I view humanity. This is what I think is happening. If you are not actually aware of just being alive, which can start by being aware of the fact that you are a effing alien. Your awareness is inhabiting what amounts to be an alien body. All bodies are alien. Life is alien. Until you have that awareness, you are a zombie. You might have feelings. You might respond to pain. If I say hello, you might respond hello back. But you're not aware. You're just a brain that is taking in feedback. Right? You're an AI. You can type into your keyboard to ask AI a question, and it will respond to you through some sort of calculated algorithm. I'm not an AI expert, but you know what it is. But we know, or at least we suspect, that AI doesn't have an awareness of itself. And that awareness, if you don't have it, if you've never once thought, wait, what's happening here? Why? The why is the question. It doesn't need an answer. The question is the answer. All questions in life contain the answer. They are the answer. By simply asking why, you come to the awareness that there is a why. That the asking of the why is the awareness. Right? Can an AI ask you why? A program, you could program it to ask a why, but it would only ask a why expecting a response. The why that we ask may not get a response because we can ask it to ourselves. And it's not a why that needs a response. I hope I'm making sense. There's the concept of knowledge and then intuition, and not hippy-dippy, crystal healing type stuff, like mind reading intuition. No, there's intuition that actually is true knowledge, not the kind that you read in a book or online. And that intuition is experience. And I think that if you were to ask that question, why, you would eventually, through intuition, question why you're alive, why you're experiencing anything at all, and you would understand how alien you actually are. And that waking up in this body and having any sensations at all, the stuff that you're accustomed to every single day, that you take for granted and you think is normal, and you're even numb to it. You're numb, like you don't even think about it. Food tastes boring. You gotta have the craziest food. You gotta watch the craziest things on TV or on the internet. You gotta listen to music that is just so stimulating, hyper stimulating. You're numb to all of your senses. And the why, if you would just ask why, you could start to get some of that sensitivity back. Because now all of a sudden, you're not numb, you're not lost in a lack of awareness. Because that's where you get lost. It's like a hypnotism. That's why it's like you're dead. You are dead. I have another video called, you're not experiencing life. Your life hasn't even started yet. Until you have actually conceptualized and taken in the fact that this shouldn't, not that it shouldn't be happening, but the fact that it is happening is out of this world. It's out of this world. And you are inhabiting a mind and a body, because it's all connected, that is actually able to turn itself around. That no other creature that we know of can do that. We can flip that awareness back on ourselves to ask why. Why am I having this experience right now? And if you do that, you're going to refresh your awareness to your own self, and you're going to, and it might be uncomfortable. You might have a really bad experience when you realize that you're a goddamn alien. That actually might traumatize you. That actually might hurt you in some way. And I don't think that means you shouldn't do it. But having that change in your perspective, it's what separates the living from the dead, in my opinion. It's what separates the brain inside of a jar in space that is just brain in a jarring, which is us. Human beings are brains in a jar in space that are just braining until you gain awareness. And I think there's a concept of like New Earth or something like that. And I haven't read into that as much. I'm not going to sit here and try to say what it is or what it isn't. But in my perception, or from my thoughts on the subject, I think there are two kinds of humans. And it's basically, it's the aware and the unaware, the living and the dead. There's physical death, but there is the walking dead, which is the people who have never once woke up in the morning, in the middle of the day, or at night and went, holy, I'm an alien. I'm having an alien experience. Unlike anything, I can't imagine, I couldn't imagine having this experience. But I am having it, and I didn't have to imagine it. This brain didn't have to imagine me having this experience, but it has numbed you to having this experience because you expect to have it. You wake up and expect to have it, and that's where a lot of misery comes into place, because you wake up and you expect to have a certain experience that matches yesterday's experience and the day before and the day before that, and if that sucked, then it's going to keep sucking. So I think I wouldn't say it's an easy way, but one way to sort of exit the depressive mind state is to actually practice this awareness and to practice coming into yourself, pause, and feeling like you're having an experience. And if you contextualize it and strip it away from the experience you had yesterday, you would realize that it is alien and all the other ones were alien. But your brain adapted. It adapted you to it and removed the novelty of it. And maybe it had to do this so that you could take in new information. I don't know enough about that. I'm not a neuroscientist. Maybe it's an adaptation. But I think that adaptation of taking in new information does so at the cost of your joy and the ability to have joy. Because if you are locked into a life that you can't question to the point that you're not even really alive, you're just the brain in the jar, then you've traded your life to become a computer. That's what you've done. And you didn't choose that. You didn't consciously choose that. No one put it in front of you and said, here's A and here's B. Which one do you want? The red pill or the blue pill? Nobody gave that option to you. It's just something that happened. So that's why we're aliens. And just because you're used to being an alien doesn't mean you're not one. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, because the algorithm will flush you into space and I might never see you again. And I'd like to. Thanks for watching.